How to use a semicolon with yours truly. So, picture yourself in like the best life ever. We always see it on commercials. Censorship. Don't know the brand. You always see perfect lives on commercials, on the gram, on ads, everything. Movies, it's always people living it up, happy, enjoying themselves. And one of the gravest mistakes that we can make as a society is forget that this is not the whole picture. See, think about you and 5 of your friends. You can be doing anything at a birthday party, a meal, one of those great dinners, maybe you all are on vacation. But the 6 of you are having a wonderful time. Think about that when it goes away. Everyone's done, you're about to go home. Everyone's saying, this was such a great time, I can't wait to do this tomorrow. But the sad truth about that is not everyone might need it. Statistically, 1 in 6 Americans may not want to see tomorrow, as 1 in 6 Americans suffer from mental illness. Even more tragic, in some areas it's as high as 1 in 4. Now, some other statistics about this from the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the Time to Change movement, and the World Health Association. This is a better visualization of the 1 in 6. And you can imagine how big of a chunk that is. And in the world, it's 1 in 15. So, in some places, we have, in very big civilizations, it's like 4 times the size of the average. Like, whoa, that's not very good. Now, while I'm laying all these really heavy, not fun stats on you, I just have to say, why is it me? Why am I the one bringing you all this terrible information? And as you probably know, being a high school student is not easy. When you hear someone say, I'm depressed or something, a lot of the main connotation is you're just whining looking for attention. And I have to say, I thought that at first initially, but my whole viewpoint on that was changed when I realized that I was one of the 1 in 6, and that I wanted to make a difference to prevent anyone else from having such a tragic life story. So a little more context, there's this thing called stigma. You may have heard about it, you may not have heard about it. But what stigma is, it is you just feel an aura of disapproval wherever you are, just constant shame and unbelonging, and that comes and breeds a lot of things like the importance of conformity and cutthroat competition and stuff like that only worsens stigma. And the stats about stigma are also very unpleasant. 90% of people with mental illness experience a constant stigma. 66% of all stigma cases are caused by school or the work environment. And 26% claim that their stigma made them want to give up on life. And that right there still matches up with the 1 in 4, and it's just so jarring. I just didn't think that was possible at one point. But let's take a step back and look at this little fella. So, you see him in Cub Scouts, he wants to succeed. He's actually me, if you didn't pick up on that. And I was always, just so happy to see people. In elementary school, I would always kind of rush to people's sides to, make sure that they're not being bullied or anything, make sure they're having someone to talk to. But back then, it's all about, oh, I have more Legos than you, or it's like, my dad could beat up your dad. And it's a lot easier then. But it gets to take a pretty just disgusting turn. When you get to middle school, it's more about oh, I don't think you're good enough to live. Like, whoa, excuse me? That's pretty, it's not very good. I mean, for me, when I entered middle school, I wasn't really prepared to face any of that. And I was kind of faced with the realization of not having anyone to come to my side, to be there for me like that. And I eventually graduated from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts. It was my dream to just climb up the ranks and really, oh no, that sounds bad. But to really climb the ranks, succeed, and just have a wonderful time with my friends. The only issue there is I couldn't find that many. There was this clique, and no matter what I did, my efforts, I could never get into it, and I became the object of some of their abuse. I was told that I would never be good enough, that I wasn't cool enough to run with them, and one of them had the audacity to call me a waste of space and human life. And once I got into high school, the work piles on, you have no time to just de-stress. I started picking and choosing different subjects just to neglect, just so I could have a second to breathe. And it was just the utmost stress. And from that, I got a bout of strep throat, which led to a whole infection of psoriasis. If you don't know what that is, I won't show any pictures because it's a little graphic, but you get a rash all down, bumps, peeling skin. It's nasty. It's the physical manifestation of stress, anxiety, all of the above. And my purpose in Scouts was kind of being prohibited by some of the guys who didn't want me to succeed. In school, I couldn't succeed because I didn't have the motivation or the purpose to do that. I felt like what I was doing was just a waste of time. And when you're purposeless, there's nothing that can really top that as one of the worst things ever. I'd lie in bed for hours knowing that I'd only have to get up in another hour to have another sleepless day, just thinking, you know what, why am I here? Why is this worth it? I think mainly the only reason why I'm still here is because I was afraid I wouldn't go to heaven if I had killed myself. That was really what kept me going, is I wanted to be sure that I was saved. And eventually I came to the conclusion that I needed to see someone. I needed to get my old self back because it was only a distant memory. I wanted that energy, I wanted that motivation, and just that happiness that I had once had when I was a youngster. And I went to see this wonderful woman. She was very kind, and I walked in immediately. And when I walked in, she had the brightest smile, and we sat down and talked. She didn't give me many statistics or things like, oh, maybe you should think about this or that. We just talked. And though it was only one time, maybe 45 minutes that I was with her, I walked out of that room feeling so many of the old traits I had. She saw in me from an unbiased, a totally new, fresh slate, as a new person seeing who I was. She told me and helped me realize that none of that's gone. It's still there, and that I'm the only one really holding myself back because it's still in me, and I have to make it come out again. Now, I took that moment to be my Semicolon moment. And what the Semicolon Movement is it's this organization dedicated to prevent people from taking their own lives. Their main quote is, "A semicolon is used when an author could have chosen to end their sentence, but chose not to. The author is you, and the sentence is your life." And I had known that I had these big aspirations, and I never thought I'd get them. But I would never get them if I had just ended it. There is always a way to achieve something, and because I'm still here, I can still get those goals. And Semicolon, their website is wonderful. They have an instant I need help thing. They've helped about 1/10 of the mentally ill population since 2013, and they can teach you all about different disorders that exist. And basically, from there, I really felt like a whole new person because I visualized that, I'll leave everything in the past. I won't forget. I'll learn from my mistakes and go on being a whole new person. It's my semicolon. It's not a cheap New Year's resolution, but when you can visualize it and you have the confidence in yourself, it can make all the difference. And so I figured, why am I letting myself not do anything? I need to get up and actually tackle this. So I did. And though in the scout troop, while I wasn't liked by some of the fellas, I figured that, there are plenty of other people who I can befriend, other people who I'd like to try to get to know, just be someone to listen to, just have someone like me to just be there and listen. And so I made that my mission. And eventually, because I wanted to protect these people and because we just had this great bond, that's later. Anyway, I organized these steps because if anyone here is feeling something that they don't want to feel or is going through something that's tragic and wants to really get themselves back up, these are the steps that I really figured out and that my therapist told me some of them, and I'll start with taking initiative. Nothing can change unless you make it happen, and you have to be the one to really go for it. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, and that's why I have check your diet and don't let anything hold you back. One of the things that was really hurting me was a certain drink that I kept drinking at school. It has even simple chemicals like sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and caffeine. What those do is dopamine, the happiness hormone, it suppresses it. And it slows the reproduction of it. So you physically and chemically cannot get happy. And with excessive consumption of that, you can just see what a grim picture it paints. And leaving things in the past, don't let anything hold you back. It's not forgetting. It's just remembering to move on and really learn from those things, what's going on, and what can you do to move past that, and ultimately visualizing your goals, because, of course, we need some purpose, we need something to look up to, something to really tackle in life. And now my next step would be to, gain insight. Now this is a big one, because before I was saying state of mind, talking about, being motivated, believing in yourself. State of mind is everything. I mean, overthinking things is one of the worst things you can do, but not thinking about anything at all is even worse. Also, knowing the why. See, there's a system that I kind of figured out, which is what's the worst going to happen, what's the best going to happen, and what's the most likely to happen. And oh boy, I would go into some areas with a lot of people that I was afraid of, and I would freak out and be like, oh no, they're going to think I'm this, that, they're going to make fun of me. And when I took a second to stop and think, the best thing that can happen, suddenly I just get crowd surfed across by everyone, they love me. The worst thing that can happen, they all get sticks and just beat me to death, but that's not going to happen. And the most likely thing to happen is I'm just going to exist, they're going to exist, I'm going to take care of my business, and that's going to be that. No harm's going to come to me. Why am I all up like this? It really makes all of the difference when you know that no harm is going to come to you, and when you know that a lot of it's just in your head. And you know what? Analyzing the situation, you can sequence events. What are you going to do? What are you planning on doing? And what shouldn't you do? And that leads me to making the most of your situation. Now, of course, there's only one way you can go from the worst of the situation. From your semicolon, it's just upward. There's only one way, only success ahead of you, because now you know what to do and you're motivated to do those things. Creating your semicolon event is probably one of the most important things you can do in the world of mental illness, because you can get cured from mental illnesses, but it takes your mind, your own mental state of being to do so. And ultimately, helping others has helped me immensely as well. Having that same mentality of wanting to protect people from some of the things that I went through. And it really helps me visualize a lot of what I could have done to prevent these things, what I could have done to lessen my freak out whatevers. And boy, it really helped me kind of get that confidence. And you know what, as I was saying earlier before I got it out of order, in the troop I really started to commit to it more, trying to get to know some people, trying to really just make it better for myself. And eventually, I became the leader of said troop, which a bunch of great guys helped me along the way. They helped me realize stuff about myself, and it wasn't about the recognition anymore. It wasn't just me chasing for recognition I never get. It was about me wanting to be there for some of the people who needed it. And ultimately, what I would say for you guys is now not go up to everyone and be like, oh, do you know 1 in 6 people? Don't do that. But the best way that you can help and the best way that you can spread the word is be an example. Being there, having people be there for me during some of these tough times really made me think, I want to be that to other people. And you know what? It's just a domino effect from there. When you help someone and they see your example, subconsciously, they may want to do that to someone else. They'll know what it's like. And ultimately, you can help change the world, fight the battle against suicide, and ultimately preserve people's happiness. Thank you.